We're pretty much the same generation. Does it bother you that your new record might not be available physically, that there won't be like a real CD? Or even if there is a real CD, people will probably listen to it online on streaming services. How do you deal with that new environment?
It doesn't bother me. It except for in terms of like if you're interested in, say, the album art and stuff. In ways I can get it, because I think that in some ways there were not as many artists doing a lot with the artwork of the album that you can't just do in photos somewhere.
But that was something you gave a lot of thought to, right? The right cover.
Try to.
Yeah. And that's gone now. How do you?
Well, I'm an observationalist in this, and I've been the person in my house going, you gotta buy if it's Joan Jett, you buy the record, and I'm looked at like I'm an alien. Like that's one extra button to push. That's it. And the art is really secondary, and they experience their music a whole different way. And so, but I think there is that, like Axl said, like people are now again collecting cassettes and vinyl. Like I see 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds getting a record and looking at the thing. So that might just be a niche, but it's all about streaming. And
you have collaborated over those years when you, after Guns N' Roses split, so to speak. You have collaborated both with Slash and Axl, but Axl and Slash hadn't played together or been together for quite a long time. I'd like to ask you what it was like the moment when you actually got together with Slash for this reunion. Was it at someone's house? Was it on a phone call? What was it like? Was it awkward?
What do you mean? Do you mean playing together, or do you mean
just being together in the same room, even before playing?
Well, and he was on tour or something, and then we set up when we were gonna see each other, and I think something happened to both of our plans that didn't happen, and then eventually in like October we got together. We had a dinner at my house, and then Duff and I went and hung out right after that, like a week or so after, and then it was just kind of like talking and planning. We initially were going to do some kind of promos and stuff, and then other things came up that got in the way of that, and then there was rehearsals, and went down to rehearsal, and everything just sounded right, and just went to work. It was time to sing, see what the sound sounded like and stuff, and get ready for the show, and it was all working, so.
Do you think that each one of you, the three of you, had to change a bit? Something has changed inside for this to be happening? Or again, do you think it ended up happening naturally?
I really got to discover in the best of ways the album Chinese Democracy that he made, and it was these songs he had worked on, and I'd listen to the record, but when you start to play the songs as a player, you really discover everything under all the layers in the song. There's a lot of layers, but really kind of like how you hear it, how I'm hearing the songs, are maybe a little bit different, and we I know when we went into rehearsals, we wanted to really own that, this is going to be what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
I didn't have anything really to do with that. It's like they stepped to songs on Chinese. They asked which ones are you interested in, doing and stuff, and they stepped to that on their own. They started working with Frank because they had their own way of working with the drummer and working with the rhythms, and kind of picked up the tempo on some of the old songs a bit, and things like that, and get their communication working. So they spent a good while at that on their own.
You made reference to drumming. That reminded me of Steve Adler. Is there any chance that Easy and Steve might join you guys? I know that Easy already played with you guys. Any chance Steve might join you later in the tour?
No, Steven did join us.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Steven that joined us. I don't,
I thought it was Easy, I'm sorry.
At the same time, I have no idea. It's when this started, Steven had just had back surgery and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any idea about that. And with Izzy, that's just something that I can't really describe to say. I don't really know what to say about Izzy. It's like, you know, you could have a conversation and think it's one way, and the next day it's another way. So, and I'm not trying to take any shots at Izzy. It's just, you know, his thing's kind of his thing, whatever that is.
All right. I think it's time to go. I have one last question for you, Axl. The split duties between Guns N' Roses and AC/DC. Are you planning on doing that for quite some time now? Because you're going to go
I'll
back
do
to
that
AC/DC.
as long as Angus wants to do it, and as long as you know, and we can make it work. Guns is really supportive about it, and it's a bit
radical. It's pretty radical.
I love that it's my job. I love that it's my job. I love that Angus is my boss, and it's, you know, singing the early Brian songs, the first couple albums with Brian. It's like those are something else to sing. So it's physically a different animal and another kind of work, and I take pride in doing it, you know. But it's a hard thing. So then after, in its own way. So after this, then there's a few days, and then I'll do another 10 shows with AC/DC. And after that, it's kind of whatever Angus wants to do.
All right. One final question I have to ask you. What do you have to say to the Brazilian fans who are waiting for the show in November? Some of the shows are already sold out. What can they expect? And what special recollections you have of Brazil? You've been there quite a few times.
What we have to say? We're coming.
Yeah, we're coming.
We're coming. We're on the way.
I remember the first time we went there. There was no internet or anything in 1990 or whatever it was. And
91.
91.
91.
And going down there and really kind of sort of having an idea, but we'd never been down there before. And showing up getting into the airport. And I remember the Gulf War started as we were flying. Like the pilot came on the air. Really? The Gulf War has started. Like what? And we landed. And there was thousands of kids at the airport. I hadn't seen that. Japan a little bit, but Rio was a whole different thing, and that was our welcome, like thousands of people, and then thousands of people outside of the hotel. And then we played 2 sold-out nights at the Maracana Stadium, and that was...
Yeah, and it was not common for bands at their peak to go to Brazil. That was a very unusual thing, so that was maybe
Well, I think it was
deal.
Globo
that
wanted us to come there. They had talked with our management and stuff about us going there, you know, and we were really glad to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we were excited to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I hope you have a good one there. Wish I had more time, but I think you guys are supposed to be on stage soon.